Hey guys, Music Ninja Matt here. Today I'm going to be talking about an array of different things. Basically, it all comes under the WrestleMania season banner because I wanted to talk about NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania itself, the RAW and SmackDown after WrestleMania, and the Superstar Shakeup. We're going to go through it. We're going to start with NXT TakeOver. So I watch TakeOver because, one, these shows are usually fantastic, usually better than the WWE pay-per-views, and it was to just get me in the mood for WrestleMania season. On the pre-show, it's nice seeing Nigel McGuinness in NXT. He just does so well on the panel. He's a great commentator. I'm familiar with him from Ring of Honor and TNA, so I enjoy seeing him in WWE. I also noticed that the music on NXT is really good and is just more consistently good than a lot of the music used on WWE pay-per-views, because they'll usually bring in some really crappy pop artists to do the music. One of the biggest things as well I noticed watching the pre-show was how unique the women's division is on NXT, character-wise, and one of the matches that I was like, I'm really fucking excited for this, was the Asuka Ember Moon match. We also found out we were going to get new belts. And the new belts look okay, I guess. I mean, the only one to me that I was like, that actually looks pretty cool, is the main NXT World Championship. We hit the main show, and the opener was so much fun. Just a fun tag team match. It was an 8-man tag team match. It was Sanity versus basically the enemies that they've made. Getting to see talent like Roderick Strong and Eric Young on NXT is just mind-blowing where we're at with the WWE roster at the moment. It's also great that Cassius Ohno was brought back, just because he was one of the guys I was saddest to see leave NXT. We also got to see Edge and Beth in the crowd. I just like seeing WWE superstars when they're kind of sat just enjoying NXT. We had the Aleister Black versus Almas match, and this match I was a bit like, I'm not really that fussed. I don't know how I feel about their characters, but it turned out that both men are actually really fun to watch in the ring. We had, of course, the Elimination Tag match, and DIY, the Revival, and the things they've been doing on NXT, everyone has said they've had some match of the year candidates, and this just proved it for me. It was ridiculous. You know, we had the table spots in there. We had DIY and the Revival teaming up with each other's tag partners and using the finishers and crossing over to try and stop the Authors of Pain. And I just thought that was really awesome. It was what tag team wrestling should be. And I get scared watching NXT thinking, this is great, but I know you'll go up to the main roster and be on that shitty fucking wherever the tag division is, and that's a shame. We also got a classic superplex spot, which is always good with multiple teams. We had a giant amount of delete chants, and I love this. I love that Matt Hardy is one of the most over guys in wrestling. So now he's in WWE, I hope they let him just do his thing. Just let Matt be in charge of his own creative. The Asuka Ember match, it's like I said, I just love the way they looked. I like their gimmicks a lot. Asuka's weird because I'm like, she's kind of a tweener more than anything, because she acts like a bit of a dick, but people still cheer the hell out of her. It's very odd. It was cool seeing Drew McIntyre back as well. WWE is being a little bit smart now by, they release guys, and then those guys go on the indie circuit, or they go to TNA, and they become world champions, they become massive stars, and the fan base is massive for them. And WWE actually turns around and goes, shit, we need to bring them back. And hopefully he'll be treated properly. The fact he's been put in NXT, I like that, because he can really thrive on NXT. The main event of Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke, for me this match was more about whoever loses is going up to the main roster, basically, was my way of thinking of it. But NXT TakeOver was such a fun show, and after watching it, I was just really in the mood to watch WrestleMania. For WrestleMania, I went with Joel, and we went to Shooter's Bar, which is part of Beer Keller in Cardiff, so we went to a proper wrestling event, which is great because, you know, everybody there is a wrestling fan. The night was hosted by Doug Williams. There was a wrestling pub quiz. There was people in fancy dress, so they had a fancy dress competition. It felt like being at a live event because everyone's cheering, shouting, they're doing chants, and it's so immersive when you've got it on the big screen and you're all sat watching it together. So for the pre-show, we had Austin versus Neville. I'm gutted this didn't make it to the main show. Love that Austin Aries is on the main roster now, and this was just a great feel-good opening match where you could sit back, relax, and be like, okay, it's WrestleMania, let's do this. For the Andre Battle Royal, I was very much convinced that Braun was going to win it, and then I thought maybe Luke Harper, some people said Sami Zayn, Mojo winning it, just kind of shocked everyone and left everyone a bit like, meh, no one really cared. And then we had Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin. I was convinced Baron was going over. Dean won, and I do love Dean Ambrose, but I felt it was really Baron's time to win here. We had the main show. Of course, AJ beat Shane in what was a surprisingly really good match, because Shane actually did some proper wrestling here, and his shooting star press, everyone kind of jumped up because they were like, that was actually pretty cool. And it's great that just AJ Styles, just everyone he works with, it turns to gold because it just knows how to work a match. Kevin Owens beat Jericho, and it was sad because I really wanted Jericho to win because I wanted Jericho to just get his own back after this whole rivalry. And I love how easily Jericho just goes back into being a face from a heel, just so easily. But it helps that everyone just loved what he was doing as a heel anyway. Bayley beat Sasha, Charlotte, and Nia Jax. And I thought either Bayley was going to win and Sasha was going to turn heel and attack her, or Sasha was going to win but still turn heel. But they let Bayley win and just have like a fun WrestleMania happy moment. And this was a good match, but because it was these women putting it on, it wasn't their best match, but still enjoyed it. This next match was the highlight of the entire pay-per-view for me, because we were supposed to have Enzo and Cass, Sheamus, Cesaro, and the Club. I wasn't too fussed on this match. I was like, I just want the Club to win and they can go. They made it a ladder match, and I was like, okay, you've made it a ladder match, that's a bit cooler, but still I don't really care. And then the New Day come out, and the New Day were WrestleMania hosts. Earlier on in the night they'd done a bit which was actually quite fun, but they were like, there's going to be a fourth team. And straight away, everyone went, oh, for fuck's sake. So the New Day's in this match. So everyone was like, meh. Because WWE had been clever, and the rumour mill was just that the Hardys weren't signed to WWE yet because of complications with TNA. So we're all sat there, and the Hardys music hit, and the place exploded. Like, I'm surprised tables didn't flip over. We jumped up out our seats. The guy in front of us started downing his pint he'd just bought. Like, everyone was screaming, shouting, and the adrenaline was just... The whole match, the adrenaline was going. And after this match, for a good 20 minutes, half an hour, everyone is still going, that was the best thing ever, the Hardys coming back. But for me, this is where the pay-per-view was at its best. And it was sad because I was going, well, we're bound to have other returns in this pay-per-view because we've had this one. And just the momentum started to die after this match for me. Not because the pay-per-view was bad, but just because nothing topped the fact that the Hardys came back. We moved on to Cena beating Miz, and then, you know, Team Cena beat Team Miz. And Cena proposed to Nikki, and it was such a total Bellas kind of spot. And, like, no one really cared. Everyone was just like, this is a bit cringy. And, like, the Hardys came back, so I don't give a shit you got engaged. Because clearly you've been engaged for weeks anyway. And this is where, again, the rumour mill is a nasty thing. Because people have got it in their head about the Hardys returned. And then, apparently, this is where you're talking to loads of different wrestling fans. And somebody went, well, apparently Seth can't fight. He's too injured to fight. So what if somebody came back and fought in his place? And everyone was like, oh, Finn could come back, awesome. But then somebody else was like, I heard Punk's coming back. And straight away in my head, I'm like, fuck you, Punk is not coming back. In any way, shape or form, he's just not. But then there's that little part of you that goes, but if he did, that would be cool. And then everyone was like, for fuck's sake, no matter what happens in this Seth versus Triple H match, we've all fucking booked it in our heads better. And the Seth Triple H match was okay. It was nice that Seth got his revenge finally. and Steph went through a table. So, that was nice. But overall, yeah, I was still waiting for the next big thing to happen. Orton beat Bray, and they had the weird lighting effects where the ring would just turn to, like, bugs for some reason. A lot of what Bray and Randy started doing just felt like broken Matt Hardy rip-off stuff, where it just got silly. With Orton beating Bray, I just look at it and go, so why did Cena have to beat AJ for the title, for Bray to beat Cena for the title, for Randy to beat Bray for the title? And I'm like, the WWE title at the moment is just looking really crappy, and it's just being passed around so much. Lesnar and Goldberg, I thought this was going to be the very last match. I'm kind of glad it wasn't. They did so well with what they had. They knew that people were sceptical about this match. Goldberg came in and did the spear and jackhammer, and everyone went, fuck, he's done it again. He's fucked over Brock. And then Brock starts with all the suplexes, and you go, oh no, Brock's going to fucking destroy him. And they just did well to keep teasing us and do false finishes. And then Brock went over. Either way, you're going to have a part-time champion, so meh. We then had Naomi beating Mickey, Natalya, Alexa, Becky, and Carmella. It was nice that the SmackDown Women's was brought onto the main show, even if it was just like as the cool-down match. And Naomi finally gets her big WrestleMania moment, and hopefully she'll just hold the title now for a bit. We had Roman Undertaker, and to be honest, a little part of me went, God, I wish Brock and Goldberg was actually the main event. Roman beating Undertaker just really hurt. Roman Reigns, people only got behind him because we were being given people we didn't want, so everyone went, fuck, I'd rather Roman Reigns won. And then Vince McMahon went, oh, what, you like Roman Reigns? And then forced Roman Reigns down everyone's throats. And I don't think Roman Reigns is that good. He's got about 3 moves, and I find him just boring on the microphone. The thing is, if you turned him heel, it would work, because he's an arrogant little prick. So when you're going, look at our baby face, who's an arrogant prick, I'm like, that doesn't work. I loved how in this match, Undertaker threw out Roman and was like, this is my yard. And then when he threw out Roman again, he was like, still my yard. And you're like, yeah. The ending was weird, how it just kind of really slowed down, and Roman just kept hitting him with spear after spear after spear. Because to me, it wasn't like, look how strong Undertaker is. It was like, oh look, Undertaker's dying in the ring. Like, it just felt like we were seeing how old he really was. And obviously this was the main event because this is Taker's last match, it would seem. You know, he took off the gloves, which he's done before, but then he took off the hat and the coat. His character doesn't allow him to come out and say a goodbye speech, so this was like his goodbye speech. But then, mainly people who really were clinging on to the fact they didn't want this to be Taker's last match were saying, well, what if this isn't him retiring? What if he's getting rid of the dead man gimmick, and then he'll come back as the Biker Undertaker? I didn't mind the Biker Undertaker. Most people hated him, so would hate for that to be the end of his career. I wanted Taker Sting, we didn't get it. When he fought Bray, I thought that could be the passing of the torch, we didn't get it. Dream scenario at this point for me, either Taker Cena, as, 2 different generations, absolute biggest stars of their generations kind of thing, or Finn Balor passing of the torch match. I want when Undertaker goes out for it to really mean something. And at the moment, it's just, oh, but Roman beat Taker. And I'm like, yeah, that was shit, wasn't it? So this WrestleMania had some fantastic moments. But for me, the momentum peaked with the return of the Hardys and then just kind of slowly started to slip down. The Raw and SmackDown afterwards, I didn't actually fully watch. All I really cared about was who turned up on the shows, so I looked it up. Kurt Angle made Raw GM. That made me really happy, because I was like, what a time we live in, where the Hardys are the tag team champions, and Kurt Angle is Raw GM, but then we have our new stars too. It's just really cool. The Revival showed up, and straight away I was like, I hope you are used right, and I hope you can boost up the tag team division on Raw. Emma came back as well, and she's Emma, and yeah, I used to be a huge Emma fan, not so much anymore really. Finn Balor returned, which of course is awesome, and the only other thing that I noticed on Raw was that Braun showed up and was like, where is my fucking title match? And I'm sat there thinking, yeah, like, are you gonna let Braun kind of be in the main event scene, or are you gonna keep kicking him back down? On SmackDown then, Eric Rowan returned. Yay. I kind of feel like he should be in NXT and just develop something before coming out on the main roster. We had debuts from Ty Dillinger and Shinsuke Nakamura. This is huge for SmackDown because SmackDown has needed people, especially people like Shinsuke, main event stars. SmackDown needs more of them, and everyone just loves Ty Dillinger at this point, so... And again, one of the biggest moments for me on SmackDown was this kind of AJ, to me, it felt like starting to go face again, because he like goes to hit Shane and then Shane kind of is prepared for it and they just smile at each other, and it's almost like this, they started to show like signs of respect, and I liked it. It added to the story, but almost for once we got a feel good payoff to a feud rather than it just all going to shit. So then we had the Superstar Shake-Up, which I was like, we're not doing the draft then? Because the Superstar Shake-Up, people literally just showed up and they were like, oh yeah, I'm on this show now. And I didn't think it was that good. So Raw got Bray, Alexa, Mickey, Kurt Hawkins, Dean, Miz, Maurice, Apollo, Kalisto, Heath Slater, Rhino, and apparently David Otunga. Woo. But I looked at those picks and I thought Alexa and Mickey, interesting picks for the women's division. Bray should be a massive pick, but just isn't, because for me, the time when they should have pulled the trigger on Bray Wyatt has been and gone, and they've just kind of ruined it now. The biggest picks up for me that I think Raw got were Miz and Dean, because Miz is just the best he's ever been at the moment. Dean's one of my favourite wrestlers, and he's fun, and he's bringing over the title. And then you get picks for people like Heath Slater and Rhino, who they could get new life breathed into them by being on a new show. SmackDown got Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jinder Mahal, The Shining Stars, The New Day, Charlotte, Sin Cara, Rusev and Lana, and Tamina. Tamina's a weird one because I don't think she actually appeared on Raw. She was like injured and now she's on SmackDown. People like Rusev and Lana, like, you can do something with them and push them on SmackDown. Having Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Charlotte, these are massive picks for SmackDown, I think, and I personally think SmackDown kind of won the Superstar Shake-Up by having the better picks. Like, the New Day, even though I find them quite irritating at times, could really do something for SmackDown's tag division. But as well with SmackDown, like, they've already started pushing Jinder. Like, Jinder's got a WWE title match, and I feel like this is the thing, is that Raw will get people and be like, oh, okay, well, we're doing our thing at the moment, so just there. Whereas I feel like SmackDown goes, we've got new people that we can make stars out of, so let's do that. And I think, yeah, Jinder's kind of an example of what they can do with new people. And just looking at what's been happening on Raw and SmackDown, I mean, even looking at the card for Payback, I'm like, wow, I'm actually pretty damn excited with what they've been doing at the moment and how they've been going since WrestleMania. But that's just my thoughts on all the kind of stuff that happened around WrestleMania season over those couple of weeks. And I'm not sure when the next pay-per-view I watch will be. Maybe Payback, because Payback's got a pretty good card. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Go down in the description below and check out all those links and other random things that are there. See you later.